But imagine how tired we are. Imagine how tired we are of it.
So they moved on from DEI pretty quickly. Pretty soon here, they're going to be calling us the N-word outright again. Or I should say they're going to try to do it. They've attempted to colonize this word. This is no different in their interpretation of it than white guilt, black privilege, black victimhood, etc. We haven't been out protesting. We've been at home. We've been boycotting, etc. Minding our business, and yet these people always find a way to talk about us. Always worried about us. They cannot leave us alone. It's so funny because they keep saying shit like this, like they're going to do something. What are you going to do? You have a problem, then I suggest you solve it. They're just trying to bait us. They're just mad because we're so unbothered. But this is what racists like to do.
Black fatigue has showed me one thing. These people are tired of seeing us enjoy ourselves despite everything that's going on around us. So let's ramp it up. Let's ramp it up. We had Kendrick Super Bowl, Beyonce halftime. We got both of them touring right now. We just had the Black Ass Met Gala. We got Sinners that came out. You know what I'm saying? We got Philly won the Super Bowl. Let's ramp this shit up. If they think they're exhausted now, just wait till November. It's only gonna get blacker from here.
Looks like today's gonna be hot. Ladies and gentlemen, grab your popcorns and brace yourself because today we are diving into a fiery storm. So the black folks are clapping back with truth in response to the new term black fatigue. Yes, you heard that right. So some white people are now saying they are tired of hearing about racism. Meanwhile, we are out here living it. Let's hear their reactions, then we come back with some commentary. If you're new here, kindly consider subscribing so you don't miss any update from our videos. Let's dive into it.
And you know what? I'm going to use the hashtag Black Fatigue so that the whites making that content see this video. Black fatigue already has a meaning, and it's not the one that you think it is. Black fatigue means the emotional toll, the exhaustion inherent in living under systemic racism and having to deal with that shit day in and day out and live in a society and a culture that is, the deck is stacked against you and the rules are made to discriminate against you and make your fucking life harder. That is what that phrase means. If you don't like black people and you're tired of hearing about black people and hearing from black people and having black people around you or in your face or in your culture, just say that. You're using a phrase like black fatigue to try to make what you're saying sound like it is some sort of intellectual discourse that we're having. This is not intellectual discourse. This is you're a racist and a bigot. Just be a racist and a bigot. Oh, what? Are you afraid of the social consequences of that behavior? Gasp. Let me clutch my pearls.
The whole black fatigue discussion is happening because of white fragility. Let's be very honest. White people are feeling outnumbered. They are feeling less than. They're feeling like they're not achieving the way that black people are. And it's because black excellence is on the rise. White mediocrity is more clear now than it's ever been before. And that's really what the big issue here is, right? And so the systems that they have built in order to keep themselves at a certain level and to keep us below a certain level, they're starting to crumble and they just don't know what to do. They don't know what to do, you know, but I will say I feel like this is a very dangerous time for us because when people are feeling threatened, whether it is a real threat or a perceived threat, it's a problem. It's a problem and they're going to continue to act out.
First they said all lives matter. Then they said DEI. Now they're saying black fatigue. Don't these people get tired of hating black people? Like honestly, at this point, they must be bored. Just because you're not using a slur doesn't mean we don't know what your intentions are. We do. It's very obvious. It's very obvious. Like seriously, black fatigue is a thing now? That's what we're doing now? I've been seeing that all over my timeline. Like seriously? Like, why can't you guys just leave us alone? Obviously, not all of you, but if the shoe fits, I mean, then wear it. Like, black people simply existing is such a problem for certain people, and it's like, why? Why? Every now and then, there's some new term just to hate on black people. And now it's black fatigue.
So AmeriKKKans are now saying that they are feeling black fatigue. But I don't recall them feeling fatigue when they were stealing our music, stealing our dances, stealing our hairstyles, stealing our vernacular, stealing our vibe, and essentially stealing our culture, which leans right into cultural appropriation and then taking our culture and then misrepresenting it. So if anyone should feel fatigue right now, it should be black people, because we are tired and we are exhausted with people stealing our culture. In particular, AmeriKKKans.
White people attempting to rebrand white rage by co-opting the term black fatigue as though it's a phenomenon they actually experience but only recently found the language to talk about is both dystopianly weird and tragically on brand. The copying, the whitewashing, the centering themselves by playing victim. But what's ironically telling about it is that the concept of racial battle fatigue is not new. It's been around for decades, and the term black fatigue has been used by black people for quite a while. Mary Frances Winters wrote a book that came out in 2020 titled Black Fatigue, and it describes the mental, emotional, and physical exhaustion that black people experience because of systemic racism. Now, notice how black people didn't call that white fatigue, because the purpose is not to assign blame in order to justify bad behavior. It is called black fatigue because it is a harm that black people experience, and so their focus is on addressing and combating that harm. Whereas when white people talk about experiencing black fatigue, they are not talking about a harm that they experience because of black people or anybody else. They are literally telling on their own inability to live in society with black people. And that's not new either. That's a pathology that has existed for hundreds of years, but call it what it is, white rage.
Why is racism coming back? More buzzwords to justify it. The newest one is black fatigue. Before that, it was DEI. You understand there's never anything good enough for these races, right? Let's explain what black fatigue actually is. Black fatigue is actually a book on how racism erodes the mind, body, and spirit and explores systemic racism and its effect on black people. These racists aren't even smart enough to know the definitions of the words they're using, such as DEI. Why are we giving them any attention? And why are they increasing in number? Most people that are racist have zero black friends, have never interacted with a black person in their life, but they're somehow racist still. Because they're chronically online. You chronically online people need to get a life. Yeah, you're chronically online. No wonder you're so scared and angry at everything all the time, and you're looking for an outlet, and for some reason that expression comes to making up some new crazy buzzword to be obsessed with a group of people that have no idea who you are and have never thought about you, but your entire thought process is on them. We're actually talking about race in 2025.
Black fatigue. Oh, I wish it was so. Because if it was actually true, black people overnight would have no problems. We'd live in peace, we'd have no worries, we'd be skipping around and just, it would be a dream come true. But unfortunately, we know the truth. We know that these people are completely obsessed with us. And if they weren't obsessed with us, we'd literally be living in peace right now. They saying that they're fatigued, we're exhausted. If they're fatigued, we're exhausted. And how do I know they're obsessed with us? Oh, let me just think for a second. Well, they steal everything we create. They steal our music. Look on this app and see that they steal our dances. They steal our fashion. They use our slang. We are the American culture, and it's because we can't make a move without them devouring every little milligram of information about us. They track our movements.
Black fatigue was a book written and a term used and coined to describe the negative impacts of systemic racism on black people and the black community in this country mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And somehow, this coined term, used to express how black people had developed fatigue in constantly fighting against systems of oppression, how black people in the black community had become tired from feeling as if they had to consistently and constantly battle against systems that were put in place and designed to disenfranchise, oppress, marginalize these people specifically on the basis of skin color. This term has now been co-opted by individuals who are using it as a way to mask their prejudice. And this is why progress in this country is stifled. This is why, when you ask, why can't we move forward? Why can't we move the needle forward and progress as a people? Why can't we build a community of unity? This is one of the reasons why we cannot, and why we have not been able to successfully. Because instead of addressing the actual root causes of the issue, you instead choose to co-opt terms and misrepresent them, misuse them, but then create new terms to mask your prejudice. You don't have to be prejudiced. You don't have to be racist. That's a choice you make. But this idea now that you're going to use the term black fatigue, which was meant to describe the way in which black people felt tired battling systems of oppression, systems that we know historically existed. You can't say they didn't because we know that they did and still do. You use that term now to describe why you're tired of black people. And you have people who are jumping on the bandwagon. The frustrating part is, if we really want to move the needle forward, we should all collectively come together and say, hey guys, let's not do that. Let's not find new terms to try and use code language to describe racism. At first it was DEI, then woke, now black fatigue. You know what it was before that? Criminal. Before that? When you had to pass a certain paper bag test? Before that? When you didn't like the way in which people lived, or the type of music they listened to, or the style in which they wore their hair? Before that, you just said they were unqualified based on their skin color? And before that, you just outright wanted to segregate via Jim Crow. And we keep tracing it back, but there's one common denominator that we still don't want to address as a nation. Why is that? We still don't want to address it as a nation. And as long as we turn a blind eye to the troubled and troubling history of this country, we will never escape the origins of it. You know how much and how desperately we yearn for racism to not exist? Imagine how desperately people during segregation who were being ostracized in society, how desperately they wished that racism wasn't a thing. How desperately we desire for racism to not exist in this country so we can move forward as a nation. But then you get on here, and people get on here and feel emboldened to say things that are absolutely incorrect. But they get on here and feel emboldened to say things that they know will spark outrage. They get on here and feel emboldened to say things to get people to agree to their prejudice and to their racism against other people. Stop.
Let me be clear. This isn't a joke. It's not just internet drama. When white people say they are black fatigued, what they are really saying is they are tired of being held accountable, tired of hearing the truth. But our pain is not a trend. Our history is not a burden. And our fight is not optional. You don't get to tune out of a reality we were born into. So no, we won't be silent, we won't shrink, and we are not here to make anyone comfortable. We are here to make things change. Thank you so much for tuning into today's video. If you found value in what you shared, kindly consider subscribing and turn on notifications so you never miss any update from our videos. Your support really means a lot, and it will help us keep bringing you more insightful content. Thanks again, and see you in the next one.